Welcome back to Revved Up with Ram Thorburn. I am back. I apologize. I did not have a second show last week. I was a little under the weather. I was not feeling good. Basically, I'm still not fully recovered. I'm still a little tired, still fighting this infection off. But you know what? I owe you guys a show. Now, sorry. Fair warning, there will not be a show on Thursday, so I'm going to do a show on Saturday. I actually have my hearing with the school where they are going to decide my fate on Friday because, as you all know, they found out about this channel and they were none too happy about it. So I have my final hearing on Friday, so I'm going to be spending Thursday preparing for that. And then I am going to do a show on Saturday. So I apologize again. The schedule's been a little wonky. I've been dealing with this whole job situation for quite a while now, but it looks like it's about, well, I don't want to say it's going to come to a conclusion because, well, enough of that. I don't want to talk too much about that. But anyways, who do we have in here? Tracy James, welcome back. Says, Ram, you are very late in game. No, I am on time and super straight. We got PAEMTFF9 in here. I think you are new here. Welcome to the channel. Says, psychological warfare can be as damning and mentally destructive as physical effects, from gender manipulation / modification to false hate / racism to lockdowns. Kids were mentally ravaged in 2020 and 2021. You get no disagreements from me whatsoever. Yes, and I mean, really, you have seen the effects of the lockdowns on society as a whole. I mean, even with things opening back up in certain places, I mean, they're still trying to lock back down now to the Delta variant. But even as things were opening up, you still saw, like, people just fell out of touch with each other in certain ways, and it's really hard to get that sort of social interaction back up and going again. It demoralized so many people to the point where, hopefully we can all recover from it, but I do think that might have been part of the agenda, was to break down much of the social interactions that we had every day, because, of course, now they have the war on disinformation. They want to silence and shut down people who are who are pointing out the bullshit and the narrative that we are being fed every day, and they are trying to shut that down. In fact, recently there was, I don't know what they call the governors in Canada, but in Nova Scotia, the head of the province of Nova Scotia was saying that part of the reason that they were locking down again was not just because of COVID, but because they were afraid of groups forming and spreading disinformation. And we saw Hillary Clinton came out a few months ago talking about how big tech has a responsibility to fight disinformation. We have we have the early stages of a ministry of truth being formed here in America, and we must stand up against that with all our might. We must continue to go to the new tech media sites. So if you haven't yet already, follow me on BitChute, follow me on Odyssey. Who knows how long I will last on YouTube? I've already been in YouTube jail 3 or 4 times in 2021, and we're not even halfway through this motherfucker yet. Well, I guess we are about halfway through this motherfucker, but I have already been in YouTube jail 3 or 4 times this year, and it is only a matter of time before they give me the can for good. We got Op12 in here. Says, I hear the war drums pounding. Yes, oh man, the fight for our kids is, and I know I've been talking about this a lot recently, and so I hope you guys aren't getting tired of this conversation piece, but it is really front and center in the cultural war that we are fighting right now, because it seems more and more that they are focusing less and less on people like you, people like me, grown adults who have already made up their minds, and they have really centered their war of indoctrination on the youth, on the kids, trying to take away the parental influence on our children, so that the state and the I don't want to call them the liberal apparatus, but the neo-communist, neo-Marxist, cultural Marxist apparatus that grew out of the liberal movement in America, which is now completely illiberal and represents no form of classical liberalism whatsoever. They are really going after the kids, and they are trying to take away the parent's right to raise the kid. And I've got a great speech. I don't want to go too far ahead, because I've got a great speech from a father who was talking about this stuff and talking about what the role of the teacher is versus what the role of the parent is, and he was talking about that at a school board meeting, and we'll get to that in just a little bit, but I thought it was a very good point that they are abandoning their their duties to teach us the basics of education, to teach kids, math, science, basic history, literature, composition, all of that kind of stuff. Hell, I mean, they've already gotten woodworking and any sort of technical trade school type classes out of the schools, and they are now teaching. It's all about teaching social adjustments, social awareness, and social awareness all along the lines of this Gramscian Marxist Frankfurt School cultural Marxist propaganda machine. Let's see. Tracy James says, Ram got new Tom McDonald, Toby Keith, and Aaron Lewis tunes. You can't miss. Yeah, I heard Tom McDonald's new Can't Look, Don't Look Down, and it's awesome. He crushes it, but it's not something that I'm likely going to respond to because it's not one of his political messages, and I really try to keep my music reactions on this to political messaging. Although I do need to do some more Burden, some more Mises. There are some stuff I need to get back onto doing more of the music reactions. We got Old Man in here. What's up, Old Man? Good to have you in here. We need Old Man deciding the history courses that are taught to our kids, because that man has been in here many times and given me history lessons, told me a bunch of stuff that I did not know. That man knows his shit. He has a good perspective on it. Old Man, we need to get you involved in determining our history courses, curriculums for our public schools. We got Robert Whaley, Raw Dog, in here. Says, hey, Ram, hey, all. Yes, good to have you back in here, Robert Whaley. It is good to have everybody back in here. PAEMT FF9 says, united we stand, divided we fall. Yes, that is exactly true, and we have seen this. I mean, we've seen this from the very onset. The reason that they tried to divide all of us into different groups, whether it's along racial lines, black, white, Hispanic, Latina, or whatever, whether it's gay, straight, lesbian, trans, queer, all this different stuff, they are trying to put us in as many boxes as they possibly can. And you know what? I'm not going to do... most of the Clown World commentary that I'm going to be doing today, I'm not going to be doing a lot of the libs of TikTok videos, for one, because they start to get a little redundant, and how many times can we make... Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Like I said, I'm still getting over this infection here. But they start to get a little redundant, and most of the stuff that I wanted to talk about with Clown World today really does revolve around the school system and critical race theory. But I did want to show one Libs of TikTok video, so let me go ahead and show you that right now. And this is where their plan might backfire. So let me go ahead and play this, and then I will explain in just a minute. Oh, sorry. I just saw we got Mike the Mugger in here and JG Mopar. What is up, y'all? Let's see. Mike the Mugger says you should check out Roger Landry, the website, The Liberty Beacon. I will check that out. I will check that out. We got the Alabastard in here. Haven't seen you in here in a while. It is good to have you back. And Apollo Man. Man, a lot of you getting back in here. Great to see. All right, so I'm going to play this video real quick before I go and talk further about the divisions and what they're doing and why ultimately we might end up seeing it backfire, because I think we on the right, we as MAGA patriots, we are as united as possible. But because it's the left that is buying into all of these divisions, we have seen time and time again that they will end up eating their own. And so hopefully that paradigm stands true, and that while the right is united, the left is divided, and they will fall. So let me go ahead and play this, just so you can see the ridiculousness of all of this division that the left is causing and how it's going to be self-destructive.
I'm trying to phrase this nicely, and I can't yell, but I want to. So, black people and people of color in the queer community aren't seen by white queers as queer as they are. On almost every occasion where I've been discussing my queerness or my experiences with queerness with white gays, they speak to me in a condescending way, and they treat me as if I am a straight person imposing on a queer subject, because they don't see us as queer as them. Queerness is seen as something that is white and a way to compare oppression, and it's used to compare oppression. So it's impossible for white gays to see us as gay as them. The LGBTQ community has been used as a front to hide racism or to excuse racism. Do research on black queerness, please.
All right, so we're seeing right now, her whole thing is that white gays do not look at black gays as the same. By all means, keep your infighting going. JG Mopar says she's a lunatic. She might be a lunatic, but just let them loosen the asylum to take each other out. I'm fine with that. I am fine with that. That is your own tactic and strategy working against you. And when you use cultural divisions as a weapon against society, and you have one side of the aisle that outright rejects the entire idea of dividing everybody upon cultural lines, what you end up having is you have one side united and the other side that gets so tit for tat within their divisions that they end up devouring each other and infighting themselves to the ground. And I'm all for that. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Another thing that's so funny is that if you look at the mantra of Marx, what his whole idea was that you could reprogram human nature, and that you could get rid of all human conflict by reprogramming competition out of man. Well, what you see here in this purity spiral, this woke Olympics, is you're seeing that even these leftists who follow the pretext of Marxism and cultural Marxism, they are still just as competitive as anybody else. That is precisely what we're seeing in this video. We are seeing a competition for who can be more woke. You cannot get competition out of human nature. It is ingrained within us. And, Marx liked to think that human nature was a result of social conditions instead of the other way around. Marx always got the cause and effect completely fucking backwards, and you can see that, and you're not getting the competition out of these people. In fact, you're giving them clout by who can be more oppressed. When you create a hierarchy of oppression, as they do, you are naturally going to create a competition. You are never going to change the fundamental nature of man through that structure. Never gonna fucking happen. You just can't do it. There are things that are inherently us, and our systems and our societies are the result of that, not the other way around. JG Mopar says 100% Ram, let them destroy each other. I know. I mean, the best example of this is J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling was the darling of the left, uber feminist, and then she came out saying that men cannot be women. And now I think recently, I think that this was in Ireland or somewhere in the UK. Somebody put a sticker on a subway station that says, "I love J.K. Rowling," and they complained. Somebody complained and said that was transphobic. So to put a sticker that says "I love J.K. Rowling" is now considered transphobic by the left. This woman used to be the darling of the left. How long before she's not American, but let's imagine she's American. How long before she is out there supporting President Donald Trump, who we all know is not former President Donald Trump? Let's see. The Alabaster says, no, they're telling you to get lost because you're a woke-skulled minor. Probably. That's probably true. Let's see. We got Ronald Jarvis in here. Says, woke versus woke. What the fuck? Yes, I know. Hey, let it happen. Let them eat their own. Let the dragon eat its tail. We're just going to sit back and laugh, and then we are going to come back, and we are going to come back that much stronger. So True Grave is in here. What is up? Says Ram. How much did I miss? I don't know. You're the one who's late and gay, so you missed everything. No, I know how you do. You're gonna go backwards and play me at 1.5 times until you get caught up. Now you haven't missed too much. We're just doing our introductions and getting the show kicked off. Alabaster says you didn't miss too much. Yeah, so we're just getting this show going, talking about what we're going to be talking about today, and making fun of these dumb assholes on the left. And anyways, so let's go ahead and start. Before we start talking about the kids, here is one other story that came out. The insanity. See, this is they're overplaying their hand, and we all know that they're overplaying their hand, and it's this purity spiral that is causing them to overplay their hand. It is the exact competition that Marx wanted to weed out of society that is causing them, pushing them towards the edge to overplay their hand and become more and more insane, and then the rest of us look at them and say, get the fuck out of my society. We are not going to let you run this place. We now have the inmates running the asylum. And so we have this story here. National Geographic claims that 4th of July fireworks are racist. Smoke targets communities of color. Yes, first of all, if there was a study done on this, biggest waste of money ever. Biggest waste of money ever. Let's see. Ronald Jarvis says, we the people need to stay together, no woke. Exactly. And we are, though, because, united we stand, divided we fall, and those of us who can see the insanity for what it is, we are not going to we're not going to crumble under this shit. We are all going to stand together against this. But we now have so National Geographic claims that fireworks are racist, and so we had this from the Post Millennial. 4th of July is marked usually with copious amounts of firework displays across the United States. These displays create large amounts of smoke, which according to a study cited by the National Geographic, again, a study, waste of fucking money, disproportionately affect Black and Hispanic communities in urban areas. How much more do you think the communities, the Black and brown communities, could be helped by this money going to their communities instead of these stupid fucking studies that just point to everything as destroying their communities? But no, you can't do anything productive because that would not be communist of them. So National Geographic published an article Friday outlining these findings. The smoke and particles created by fireworks are especially problematic for vulnerable people, often in Black and Hispanic communities. Now, I think this language is a little interesting too, because what inherently makes Black and Hispanic communities vulnerable? I think they are making making assumptions that these people are inherently vulnerable and that they are not capable of taking care of themselves. I mean, the amount of racism that is baked into the cake of the left's own presuppositions is absolutely flabbergasting. And the fact that they have such little self-awareness that they can spout all of this stuff saying, voter ID is racist because minorities are too dumb to know where to get an ID. Bitch, that's racist. That's really racist. That's true racism. So, research cited within the article focused on California. Of course it focused on California, which already possesses some of the worst levels of air pollution nationwide. But I thought they were the leaders in green energy, advancing green energy. So using crowdsourced data from home air quality monitors, crowdsourced data, huh? I wonder how reliable that data really is then. So scientists found that vulnerable people in communities of color are disproportionately exposed to air pollution from fireworks celebrations, the article stated. But not everyone is equally at risk from the noxious particles that suffuse the sky during our pyrotechnic light shows. In California, for example, vulnerable populations are more exposed to fireworks pollution on the 4th of July. What do they mean by vulnerable populations? I mean, maybe they're just talking about minorities. Maybe they're talking about asthmatics and people with, with black lung. Maybe they're talking about the coal miners out in West Virginia. I don't fucking know because they don't fucking say. So they're more exposed. And if you are somebody that has lung issues, it doesn't really matter where you are. If you're around fireworks, then of course you're going to be more vulnerable. I don't really know what to tell you there. Oh, should we stop celebrating the birth of our nation and the freedoms should we have? Should we give up our freedoms because some people claim that it affects them negatively? No. That's not how freedom works. That's not how freedom works. So, citing a study published in the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health, the outlet stated that 4th of July fireworks at their peak can produce enough smoke to rival wildfires. Look, I can tell you from having seen enough wildfires in California that holy shit, that's a complete fucking lie. The smoke from the wildfires in California are insane. There's no fucking way, no way whatsoever that the smoke from July 4th fireworks are going to rival California wildfires. That is absolute insanity. That is absolute lying. So the authors also showed that the fireworks smoke can be creating an additional, albeit short-term, health risk for communities already disproportionately burdened by air pollution. Urban ones with higher rates of asthma. There we go. So they're basically saying urban populations have do they have higher rates of asthma or higher instances of asthma due to population density? I think they're probably conflating the two. See, this is why it's so important to be very judicious about the words that you use, the way you describe things, and be just as judicious when you're interpreting other people's words, because you will find that they will purposely mislead you with some clever wordplay. So urban ones with higher rates of asthma, more older residents. I'm not sure that is actually accurate. I would seem to think that most of the older, the boomer population tends to live out in the suburbs, not the urban environments. These areas also tended to have more black and Hispanic residents than those with less 4th of July air pollution, National Geographic wrote. Well, it's your choice to live in a densely packed city. They're basically saying that fireworks are bad because people live in dense areas. That's their fucking choice. You don't like it. I mean, it's cheaper to live. You can't even say that, they're stuck there, because it is cheaper to live out in rural, less densely packed areas than it is to live in cities. I mean, home prices are absolutely skyrocketing in these cities and even the suburban areas. You want to save some money, you got to go out into the damn country. But anyways, this is absolute insanity that they are pushing here. More and more, they are trying to. They're really just crushing up red pills and just laying out lines for Americans to just snort them up, because people are getting high off of based red pills these days because of how insane the narrative has gone. They have run, and it's because of the woke Olympics. It's because of the competition between Marxists who hate competition to be the most Marxist. Holy balls. I mean, if that is not a refutation of the ideas of Karl Marx in and of itself, I don't know what the fuck is. So, anyways, we got Eric J in here. What's up, Eric J? Let me scroll up. You guys have been talking. It says, God bless you, man. God bless you, too. Thank you for tuning in. I think you are new here, and I hope you come back for more shows in the future. We got King's Gambit in here. Says, hey Ram and Revved Up fan. Yes, we all love the Revved Up Rebel Nation. I got to get some Revved Up Rebel Nation t-shirts made. Some Rebel Nation t-shirts need to be made. I've got a few. I keep saying I'm going to add more shirts to the store, and I don't get around to it, but I got to fucking do it. I got to once all this stuff with the school and my job and all that stuff is out of the way, it will really clear up a lot of headspace for me to focus on some more productive things, because fighting communists on their own turf is not really a winning proposition. But I will God, I just can't wait till I can talk publicly about all this stuff, because holy balls, if you knew some of the shit I was dealing with. Anyways, PAEMT FF9 says, I'm just going to call you PAMMT for now, because it's a little it's tedious going through the whole thing. Says, this BS is being paid for with taxpayer dollars. I don't want my tax dollars wasted in such ways. I know. And you only for 4th of July, I rewatched the movie The Patriot. I seem to watch that movie like once a month because I love that movie, which is really interesting. A lot of people don't realize it was based off, it was loosely based off of Francis Marion, the Swamp Fox, who is a very, very unheralded hero of the Revolutionary War. If you're not familiar with Francis Marion, the Swamp Fox, go do your research on him. He was the one down in South Carolina that was putting the bands together, attacking the supply lines, ambushing them, and nobody could catch him. He was surrounded on all sides. Anyways, I don't want to go off into a tangent. And I already forget where I was going and bringing up that I was watching The Patriot. So, damn. This is what I get for going off on all of these okay. Knight's Gambit says Black Lung. That's racist. Yes, I know. That's racist. True Grave says, Ram, have you considered ejecting yourself out of California? I have. I am waiting for everything to subside with this job situation and see where this goes, and then I will be figuring that out from there. And it really it's a tough state to live in. It's a tough state to live in. It really is. So JG Mopar says, if you can see the smoke from fireworks from space like California wildfires, I want to be at that party. Yes, send me an invite. Send me an invite. Can you strap me to one of those rockets too? I want to go up waving a fucking flag. Oh, man. All right, so let's see. Robert Whaley says, could it be that fireworks are set off more in big cities that have a higher minority population? Yes, it really is that simple, because you don't get all the big fireworks shows out in the middle of nowhere where people do not gather to watch them. It's really just incidental, but it's got to be racisms. So let's see. Ronald Jarvis says, this heat is bad because I can't grow my marijuana. Man, why haven't you sent me any of that? I'm just kidding. I actually don't really smoke that much. Not anymore. Actually, it's been quite a while. Let's see. PAEMT says, assuming my lead and brass that are married together are also deemed racial. My lead and brass, I've got a lot of lead and brass intermetal marriages myself. I do like the lead and brass intermetal marriages. I support intermetal marriages, yes. Now, if you got steel and steel, that's bad. Steel and steel, no good. Well, I guess brass and steel is good. Brass and steel really knows how to penetrate the social issues, doesn't it? Sorry, guys. I'm going off the rails here. Yeah, True Crave says, make 1984 fiction again. Holy shit, you are not wrong. And there again, more with my job situation that I would love to elaborate to go straight on that talking point, but I cannot talk about it just yet. But maybe I should write a book. What do you guys think of the title Ram Thorburn Goes to College? I think that's going to be a good one. Let's see. Ronald Jarvis says, I can't believe they did that at the Olympics. I really cannot believe they did that. Shame on them. I might have missed I think I missed the reference on that one. Chase Winsel is in here. What is up, Chase? Good to have you in here. Says, I'm here. Remember me? I'm the white guy everybody tried to cancel, but nice try. They're trying to cancel all of us. They are trying to cancel all of us. Nobody gets canceled harder, though, than a conservative minority. There is nobody that they hate more than the escaped slave off of the Democrat communist plantation. You don't believe that? Go listen to Manning Johnson's HUAC, what is it, testimony, HUAC testimony, or read his book, Color, Communism, and Common Sense. Let's see. Man, you guys are awesome. True Grave says, right now I'm doing charter, but I'm really looking into homeschooling. Yeah, I think the charter schools are still pretty good. I haven't heard too much negative stuff coming out of the charter schools. So, but homeschooling, you can't beat having direct control over what your kid learns. You really just cannot beat that. True Grave says, but I'm a single father, so it's kind of hard to homeschool. Well, good on you for doing the single father, taking up that task. That is not an easy life. But what I would do is maybe talk to other parents and talk to them about getting sort of a group homeschooling situation together with other like-minded parents who are all concerned about what their kids are being taught. And that is actually one of the blessings of the COVID lockdowns, is that parents actually got to hear, because all the classes were on Zoom, so parents got to hear what their kids were being indoctrinated with. And that is, I think, where we see a lot of them waking up to what is going on. So it's again, the left cannot stop fucking themselves. I'm not going to get too graphic with what I was about to say. But they cannot stop. They cannot stop making moves that end up hurting themselves through the unintended consequences of their positions, which, again, that's also one thing the left always ignores is the law of unintended consequences. So they are now reaping the whirlwind from ignoring the law of unintended consequences in all of their past legislation and all of their idea making, that it's coming back to bite them. We got Zach Horton in here, says, howdy, y'all, howdy. Revved Up Rebel Nation says, howdy to Zach Horton. So anyways, let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about the war on our kids, because the war on our kids is really ground zero for this civil war that's going on, this cultural war that we are fighting. And we have a new report that has come out that shows that queer creators, it shows how queer creators spent years pushing the LGBTQ agenda into children's TV programs. Holy shit, we got Deborah Ellis in here. Deborah Ellis, what is up? Wait, she's a little shit talker, so, Deborah Ellis, to you too. To you too. Deborah, good to have you in here. Good to have you in here, Deborah. All right, so report shows how queer creators spent years pushing the LGBTQ agenda into children's TV programming. So the increase, and this is from Breitbart here, the increase of LGBTQ characters and the themes popping up in TV shows made for children in the last decade is not an organic development. It's the consequence of so-called queer creators pushing the LGBTQ agenda and working with major entertainment networks, writers, producers, showrunners, and directors to place sexualized themes into on-screen fare made for young audiences. Now, this isn't anything particularly new. I mean, we've all heard the stories about Disney sneaking in bad messaging into their kids' movies, but it's overt now. Now they are straight up saying, kids, they're straight up trying to trans the kids. They're straight up telling the kids, it's great to be transgender. Oh, here, pump some puberty blockers into yourself. Take some hormones that'll give you cancer. Mutilate your body, and do it all with pride. I'm waiting for until we don't just have Pride Month, but we also have Lust, Greed, and Gluttony and Wrath Month as well. God, Wrath Month might belong to the political right. The political right might take Wrath Month and make that ours, because holy balls are we pissed off at these people. So, a recent extensive report by Entertainment Insider highlights the increase of LGBTQ messaging in children's programming and explains the LGBTQ activists behind the scenes have made it happen. So this has been a concerted effort to trans the kids. So the rise of gender-diverse representation isn't a coincidence, Insider reports. Shows created and run by queer women, trans, and non-binary showrunners are largely responsible for the influx of non-binary and trans characters in kids' animation. One way activists have accomplished this is by getting around the typical merit-based hiring process and searching specifically new staff that are members of the LGBTQ community. And again, I mean, how Marxist of a principle is that? Completely subvert the merit-based proposition for any sort of career advancement, and it's all about whatever intersectional class you belong to. So, Tanika Scotts, a gender-fluid writer on Steven Universe Future, told Insider that non-binary bisexual showrunner creator Rebecca Sugar went out of the way to make sure that the show is staffed by so-called inclusive standards, which, when you go out of your way to be inclusive to one group, it means you're also going out of your way to be exclusive to another. They don't like to look at the other side of the coin that they keep flipping us off with. So, so-called inclusive standards, and that new talent was searched for on platforms like Twitter and Tumblr, rather than traditional hiring avenues. Now, I don't know. I don't spend any time on Tumblr, but if its reputation bears any resemblance to reality, that place is ground zero for social media insanity in terms of this leftist culture and where it promulgates. So visible queer content and multiple queer creators means no one has to feel isolated the way that I did, Sugar said. I don't know. I'm feeling pretty isolated. I wanted to go right for Steven Universe. Now I am feeling pretty fucking isolated myself. Thanks a lot, you bigots over at Steven Universe. God, what does it take for a straight white man to get ahead these days? Jesus. Can't even keep the jobs that we have for having our own thoughts and opinions. So one transgender showrunner, Shady Petoskey, told Insider that it isn't enough for LGBTQ activists to simply get roles within the entertainment industry. They must also make sure that pro-LGBTQ content makes it into the shows. Because are we really represented if we're not pushing our own propaganda on the kids? The kids. And again, this is all. We are in an existential war for the minds of our children. If you have kids, cut the cable. Teach them how to play baseball if it's a boy, ballet if it's a girl. Get them into their traditional roles and get them doing active things instead of consuming this leftist content, because I guarantee you that kid is going to grow up to hate you, grow up to resent you, and what they're doing is going to destroy any future relationship with your children that you might have, because they are going to hijack the role as their they're basically the parental guardians, but those who instill the values within them, because they are going to make it so they're going to make it permeate the culture so I'm trying to figure out the right word. It's going to permeate the culture so much that they are going to resent you, because they are going to feel excluded if they do not go along. Kids are especially susceptible to the joiner mentality, where if everybody is doing something, they need to do it to be part of the group. Being ostracized as a child is like living in hell, and because their worldview is so small, as a child, your worldview is much smaller than the worldview of an adult. You don't understand that this too may pass. If you're feeling ostracized, that doesn't mean you're not going to grow up and find your place. So they get so myopically involved in the culture that it makes them much more susceptible to this sort of indoctrination. And if they push this indoctrination on the children, on the society of kid culture to say, then they are going to really use social pressure to push kids down this path, and the kids will reject the parents before they reject the culture, because the culture will reject them and they don't want to be rejected, and they know that their parents, they're always going to have unconditional love from their parents, so they're going to take that for granted, and then out of fear of being rejected by the culture, they're going to come back calling their parents the enemy, wanting to dye their hair pink at 7 years old, and start pumping their bodies full of gender hormones. Not good stuff. Very, very not good stuff. This is sick. This is twisted. This is sinister. It is evil, and we should not stand for this. Now, I've said before, I have no inherent problem with somebody being gay, with somebody being whatever the hell they want to be in their own bedroom. But keep your sexuality to your goddamn self. I don't walk around talking about how straight I am all the time. I don't walk around talking about, banging different chicks or telling people about my sexual whatever. I keep that shit to myself. It's private. But when it comes to LGBT as a community and as a culture, it's back in the closet, guys. Back in the closet. And really, anybody's sexuality should be in the closet because it's personal. But we gave them the chance. They said, "Oh, no. All we want is gay marriage." Well, first of all, we had to redefine what marriage even means. We had to redefine what a relationship and the idea that marriage is the cornerstone of a foundational family unit, and that you need two people of opposite sex to be productive within that. We changed that for them, but no. This, before the ink had even dried on Ogerfell, they turn around and say, "All right, motherfuckers, let's trans the kids." And so they have violated our goodwill. They have violated every sense of our trust in them. So why should we, as a culture, continue to put up with them just because? What are we, afraid of being called homophobes or transphobes? No, get fucked. You call me whatever the fuck you want. Your opinion means absolutely nothing to me. So I think that we need a cultural push that says, you know what, get this stuff out of our culture, get this stuff out of our entertainment. If you want to live that life behind closed doors, by all means, we're not trying to stop you, but stop shoving it in everybody's faces. Stop Stop rainbow theming everything that you wear, every sticker on your car, all of this stuff. Who cares about your pride? Pride cometh before the fall, and we need to be the ones that bring that fall because they are disrupting our entire way of life, and they do not represent a majority of America. They are a small minority, and we have ceded our entire fucking culture to them. That does not work. No society survives that sort of unbalanced cultural structure where the very, very few get all representation and everybody else is told to shut up, or you're a homophobe, or you're a bigot, or you're a racist, or you're whatever the fuck they want to call you. That is not how a successful society operates. Whew, getting revved up in here today. Jesus. All right, anyways, back to this story. So she says, I had to fight with the help of GLAAD to get the actual word pride in instead of being called Rainbow Parade or something. Well, we shouldn't have ceded ground on that because, as we all know, pride is one of the 7 deadly sins. Pride is not something that you want to base your entire identity around, lest you become such an egomaniac, so self-centered within your worldview. You become so egocentric that nobody can stand you anymore. And again, this isn't any sort of inherent give a fuck about what your sexuality is, what your personal life is. I don't care. It is about the culture. It is about the society, and it is about how we raise our children, and we do not need to be promoting sexuality to our children. So, GLAAD has, in fact, convinced Hollywood to increase the representation of LGBTQ agenda into TV shows and networks, including Nickelodeon, PBS, and Cartoon Network, have signed on to the effort. So, all the kids networks. All the kids' networks. So, as Breitbart News previously reported, a veritable tidal wave of gay representation has washed over children's TV shows, with 222% increase in LGBTQ characters and stories between 2017 and 2019 alone. That far outweighs the actual number of LGBTQ people in the world. They are the most overrepresented segment of our population. And, it really comes down to it's a war on masculinity because, the traditional marriage, the traditional relationship between a man and a woman is rooted in a masculine male and an effeminate female. And they do not want the masculine male, so they, So they push all of this homosexuality as a way to, even if you aren't gay, you're going to act more effeminate. Because these people fear masculine men. They fear what we can do to them. Unfortunately for them, masculine men also have the restraint to not exert our masculinity over everybody, lest we be tyrants. Yet it is always the weak who become the tyrants, and they do that out of fear. They do that out of fear that they will not be able to find a way unless they eradicate those that are stronger than them. So, today, it is virtually impossible to find a TV series without a gay character or LGBTQ theme, which is why the actual people watching this content is in the gutter. It is way down because we're tired of it. So a review of the content found a whopping 259 gay characters in cartoons and TV series aimed at children. Breitbart recently reported several instances of major kids shows containing new gay characters and storylines. Last year, Disney revealed a gay character in DuckTales who was presented as a child with 2 gay dads in 2019. I hate to break this to you, but a child is going to wind up better adjusted if he has a male and a female raising him. 2 dads cannot do the same thing as a mother and a father. 2 mothers cannot do the same thing as a mother and a father. They represent opposite sides. It's the yin and the yang of humanity. There is a duality to humanity, lest I say, binary existence in humanity. And that is the mother who is nurturing and caring, and the father who is strong and masculine and teaches the kid that you can't let the world get you down. You have to go out there and raise your own. And then you have the mother that makes sure that they are nurtured as well. It is a well-rounded it's a well-rounded upbringing. You do not get that with the same instincts, the same instinctive nature that you will get from two mothers or two fathers. So that same year, PBS Arthur featured a gay wedding scene in its season premiere. I wonder what Steven Crowder has to say about that. Didn't he get a start doing Archer? So last week, Kirstie Alley warned that children are being exposed to everything perverse on every kind of screen, and cautioned that Hollywood is conditioning society to be open-minded so that it will soon support pedophilia and just loving children. Another thing, God, how did I miss even commenting on that? Yeah, Kirstie Alley was watching TV. We've gone too far, in my opinion. I feel sorry for our children. Their exposure to everything perverse on every kind of screen is mind-boggling. Even more tragic is it's being hyped as normal. No other generation has had such easy access to the underbelly of humanity. So many screens and chronic bombardment and images and concepts. Our current society would have been praising Caligula. I bet most on the left don't even know who Caligula is. Protect your children. And yeah, she did come out and say that we are on the road to normalizing pedophilia, and I do not think that she is wrong. Not at all. Not at all. Let's see. What have you guys been saying? Deborah says, "Here, here, Houston." I think she's telling me I'm getting a little too revved up. You can't shut me up, Deborah. Let's see. PAEMT says, once the kids are reprogrammed with this BS, it's very difficult to break the chain. I've seen this with the mental health job I do. Absolutely. Absolutely. It is very, very difficult to unlearn what you have learned. I mean, hell, even me, growing up through my 20s, not understanding the nihilist nature of the culture, I mean, it's hard to come back and, try to be a better Christian and all that kind of stuff, but sometimes I just want to go out and pound my whiskey and have myself a damn night, It's hard to reprogram yourself. It really is. Let's see. Oh, we got Metal Minister in here. What is up, dude? Says, I have a niece that's going through the leftist indoctrination camp right now. She thought she was trans because they said she was. Now she thinks she's pansexual because they said she is. Yeah. We've been seeing that a lot, too. Counselors that will tell kids that they are trans. And these kids are like, I am? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. What should I do? Here, take these pills. Get fucked. Get fucked. Let's see. JG Mopar says, Metal Minister, my wife's niece is going through all that crap, too. Yeah, man. You got to be so careful with your kids these days. It is... that's why I keep talking about this stuff, is because the kids are our future. And if they get them and indoctrinate them before they're even old enough to understand the concepts that they bought into, they will never understand the concepts. They will only understand them for the manner in which they were taught, which is self-destruction. True Grave says, I don't do the fast forward shit. I'll enjoy it as intended. Yeah, you are behind. You are behind. All right, well, we'll see you in the future, True Grave. All right. The Alabastard says, it sucks that you're the most masculine one at the local gym and you're a chick. Dude. Milo Yiannopoulos. Dude cracks me. He even says he's not gay anymore. I mean, he was about the most flaming gay person you could possibly be, but he was always on the right. And he's now saying that he rejects his homosexuality now. And I heard him say one time, he's like, real men work out at home. Gyms are for homosexuals. And after going to a couple LA fitnesses in Hollywood, I have no arguments. And that's why I bought a weight bench and started doing all my workouts at home. Let's see. Alabaster says so many soy boys at the gym. Yeah, you get too many of the people that want the muscles for aesthetic purposes only, not to actually have functional strength. Let's see. Barracuda is in here. I can't read that, Barracuda. I can't read that. Holy shit. Barracuda, you're a mad lad. You're a mad lad. But now we even have Biden's deputies. Biden's deputies are urging children to demand transgender status. Guys, it's all over. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. But if we don't keep coming out and fighting this, if we don't keep talking about this, if we don't keep going to our school boards and demanding that they take this bullshit out of our schools, then yeah, it will be over. We actually have to have some action. We actually have to have some action going on in here. So President Joe Biden's top deputies joined with transgender activists on Wednesday to encourage children to claim they are suffering from anti-transgender discrimination. If you or someone you know is facing discrimination because you are transgender, we want to know, said Kristen Clark, the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights at the U.S. Department of Justice, said on a June 30th YouTube broadcast. Pretty sure, I forget what it was that Kristen Clark said years ago. Pretty sure she has a pretty sordid past herself. So you can file a complaint now. We see you, we hear you, and we will keep fighting for your inclusion, your dignity. God, I'm getting bored just reading this. And your equal rights under the law, said Clark, who also suggested that the Supreme Court will back the children's claim. Unfortunately, I don't think she's wrong. I've not been particularly impressed with Amy Coney Barrett, Brett Kavanaugh, and Neil Gorsuch. Neil Gorsuch especially, who was, I think, sided with transgenders using women's bathrooms. And there was another case, I guess it was about to come up to the Supreme Court, a case about the transgenders bathroom, and they wouldn't even take it, basically letting the state's law prevail. So, not good stuff. Not good stuff. We have the true epidemic in this country is cowardice. It's cowardice. It's not having the bravery to stand up and fight for what you believe and to be cowed by the mob. Well, the Revved Up Rebel Nation, I know I'm preaching to the choir here because I know you guys are not like that, but we have an absolute epidemic of cowardice in this country. People who are not willing to stand up against this mob, who are willing to just stay shut up so they don't get beat down. Instead of, if somebody tries to beat you down, you beat them down back. You know? So maybe it has to do with the fact that the zero-tolerance fighting policies that they instituted in schools when I was a kid. You know? That if you're attacked, if somebody starts a fight with you, you get expelled too. Great. So, no. It should have been, if somebody hits you, you hit them back. Don't start a fight, but if someone starts one with you, you fucking finish it. So, she said, we stand with you. We see you. We hear you. We respect you. You matter. You are brave. And you are already strong. Again, you, me. That is the culture that we live in. And then we wonder why this shit happens. Why we have such an egocentric society. So standing in the light that oh my God. The rhetoric here. And you are already strong, standing in the light that emanates. What light doesn't emanate? And you can be unapologetically and authentically you. Continue to be courageous by speaking up when you believe that you have experienced discrimination. You are so brave, said Rachel Levine, a transgender man who is the Assistant Secretary for Health at the Department of Human Services. I want you to know that your president has your backs, and I will do everything I can to support and advocate for our community. This transgender convening comes across like an advertisement to young people that offers fame through activism, responded Natasha Chart, a feminist who argues that women's rights can only exist when they are based on the recognition that women are biologically different from men. Man, I cannot believe this, but I think the feminists are about to start becoming Republicans. I think the feminists are about to start becoming Trump supporters because they are starting to realize that men are about to start coming into their female spaces, whipping their dicks out and beating them with them. Sorry, I know that's crass, but I mean, look at what happened with Wii Spa just last week. We'll be talking about that in a little bit. So the White House's message to young people, she said, is the President of the United States and his advisors are lifting you up on a pedestal and calling you an activist and making this an important part of your identity at a time when young people's psyches are fragile because they're in adolescence. And it's a time of a lot of turmoil. They are encouraging these kids, come out as this and someone will make you famous. The little publicized online only 80-minute convening on transgender equality showcased 21 speakers. They included several children, transgender activists, a few elected politicians, as well as the cabinet secretaries, plus White House spokeswomen Jen Psaki and Susan Rice, and the director. Okay, so I'm not going to get into the rest of this. You guys get the point. They are trying to push for children to come out as transgender. They are incentivizing children to become transgender, which we all know. Kids respond to incentivization. We all know this. And now, just to further show, this is off the transgender topic. Hold on, let me see. The Alabaster says, more women are coming to the right because they realize the left won't protect them and even wants to do them and their children harm. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh, live editing. Hold on. Got to do some live editing here. Let's see. Let me get this right. I always mess this up and got to go into the live editing portion. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Which is, again, it's part of the entire nature that I was talking about earlier of when you continue to divide the people that make up your base, you are going to end up running them against each other, pitting them against each other, and they're going to devour each other. And then when one becomes ostracized by the many that are left, they're going to run to our side. As they fall, we get stronger. So by all means, let them keep going down this path. But again, we don't want the children going down this transgender path. Let's not that path, but the whole path of this intersectionality that is on the left. Keep telling your kids that they are full of shit and that they are dangerous ideas and dangerous ideologies, and let the people that have succumbed to it fall from it. Let them reap the consequences of it. So this is out now. UC San Francisco harvests preborn baby genitalia and gonads. Jesus Christ. A pro-life group found that the University of California, San Francisco is harvesting baby genitalia for experiments. Under the California Public Records Act, Pro-Life San Francisco requested information on protocols for aiding babies who are born alive following attempted abortions, as well as human fetal tissue procurement logs. The fact that human fetal tissue procurement logs exist is a problem. It is a problem. That is a satanic, godless thing to even exist. Pro-Life San Francisco provided live-action news with the tissue procurement logs they obtained, which are referred to as arrival/departure and collection lists, presumably referring to the arrival and departure of the procurers themselves, whose entry and exit times are logged in addition to the actual parts harvested. It appears from the dates that the fetal tissue harvesting business didn't miss a beat, while other businesses who were completely shuttered during COVID-19 lockdowns in California. So you cannot open your bar or restaurant, even outside patios, but we gotta keep chopping off them baby dicks. Jesus Christ. All right, I feel like we all need to have a group prayer session right now with how awful this has become. So, of particular note is the frequency of which reproductive organs appear on these lists. Out of 43 logs, 42 document the harvesting of genitalia and or gonads. It seems ironic that these scientists who work for an institution that postures itself as a frontline warrior in the battle for so-called reproductive justice spend their days mutilating the reproductive organs of people whose lives have been brutally ended under the banner of reproductive choice. Live Action also saw information regarding the protocol for helping preborn babies who survive abortions. In correspondence with attorneys for Pro-Life San Francisco, attorneys for UCSF admitted that with regard to the first two requests, there were no documents to turn over because UCFS / the Women's Options Center, you gotta love these euphemisms, don't you, have no protocol for determining the viability of abortion survivors or for providing care to them. This is a tacit admission of the possibility that abortion survivors are simply left to die without so much as the basic humane provisions of palliative care. The situation at UCSF's Women's Option Centers are essentially a free-for-all where each abortion survivor's life hinges upon the whim of the abortionist paid to kill him or her. The lack of protocol for determining viability comes as no surprise for several reasons. Viability has been shown to be an essentially meaningless concept as science and technology are always advancing in ways that allow children to survive outside the womb at increasingly early ages. Viability is a moving target which will inevitably vary from individual to individual. Pro-Life San Francisco further detailed that there are more than 100 active abortion training programs sponsored by UCSF and at least partially funded by Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, all of these billionaire globalists, you know, The Alex Jones was right jar is overflowing right now. I saw an image with like a swear jar overflowing with cash, but instead of a swear jar, it was an Alex Jones was right jar. Holy balls! Yes, he is he has been right about so many things. I didn't even listen to Alex Jones until recently, until maybe over the whole COVID lockdowns, when a lot of the stuff he was saying early on that sounded crazy started coming true. I was like, whoa. And now everything that he's been saying for the past 10, 15 years, they have hyper-accelerated the globalist agenda, and we can see it happening right before our eyes. It's like, oh, wow, he wasn't crazy after all. And at least partially funded by Warren Buffett through the United States. Many of the university's experience rely on a monthly supply of late-term human fetuses from elective abortions. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why you get so many on the left that are in favor of late-term abortions, because they have more fully formed body parts to run through their eugenicist science mills. A late-term abortion means that they have more fully formed organs and body parts that they can do their heinous medical experimentations on. I mean, I remember talking to my mom one time and telling her about Operation Paperclip, and everybody knew that Nazi scientists came over, but they all thought, oh no, those were the good ones. Wait, the good Nazis? The good Nazis? The good Nazis that were doing these heinous medical experiments? No. We have to understand that these Nazi medical eugenicists were integrated into our CIA, our NASA, all of these different science programs. I mean, MK Ultra was clearly brought over from the goddamn Nazis. That they were integrated into our society, and that we took on parts of that. So, Jesus, it really hurts to think. Everything that all these presuppositions that were made out of people who were just willing to believe that everything was okay, when they were in fact pulling the wool over the eyes of America. And you can't really blame them, because back then our information sources came from like 3 places. Now, in the age of the internet, we are able to get our information from so many different sources. We are able to find so many documents that our previous generations did not have access to uncover exactly what is going on. But it is a rude awakening. It is a very, very rude awakening. Let's see. So we got, you guys were all disgusted. Metal Minister says, "Welp, I'm ready for Jesus to come back now. Let him come with a giant meteor to wipe us all out. Humanity has had a good run, but it's over for now." No, I need a little more time to make up for my younger days, guys. I need a little more time to finish making up for my younger days. I am not ready for that yet. Let's see. The Alabastard says, you could probably fund NASA with that jar these days. Yeah, speak of NASA. Yeah, exactly. The Alex Jones was right jar. Exactly. Yeah, Zach Horton. JG Mopar says pure evil. Tracy James says, all this shit does is piss me off and further my resolve to put down these assholes. Yes, that is exactly right. We have got to keep fighting these people. We have got to keep making sure that they do not win in the long run. Because, yes, we can talk about and we can take pleasure in them eating their own and collapsing within their construct of. I mean, that's really just the fall of the useful idiots, though. You know, that's not the fall of the power structures. We have to separate the two. So as we sit there and we say, okay, yes, we love seeing the infighting between all of the intersectionalists. Those are the useful fucking idiots. The useful idiots were used to give power to the structures that are now subverting all of American society and subverting all of the precepts of American society and subverting all of our concepts and understandings of what liberty really means. Liberty does not mean the right to do whatever the hell you want whenever you want to do it. Liberty means the right to do what you ought to do, what you're supposed to do. So it doesn't mean that you can go out and party with Hunter Biden, smoke crack, and bang hookers your whole life. No, that is not liberty. That is licentiousness. Liberty means that you could go out, start a business, and keep all of your own money and be able to use your own funds to build a better life that you determine. And having all of this transgender ideology pushed on children, gender confusing children, so that they take carcinogenous, cancer-causing gender replacement hormones and body mutilation, that is not anything we ought to be doing. That is something we ought to discourage. But you just can't teach some of these people because they don't want to learn. They don't want to know because. I think a lot of these people are really, they're self-loathing, and they find a home in a political worldview that doesn't make them feel guilty about their own shortcomings, their own foibles, their own flaws, and it's a lot easier to accept them than it is to battle them and to change them. So they go for the side that makes things easier for them. You know, it comes down to self-loathing. It comes down to self-hatred. That's why Jesus, all sins are forgiven. You know, we are understood that we are born with original sin, and that it takes effort to become a better person. It takes effort to become a better man, a better woman, but that through that struggle, you can come out on the other side deserving of that grace and mercy. But anyways, so on to less about the gender stuff, because I can't keep talking about this gender stuff. It is going, and the baby mutilation and all of that stuff. The critical rate. Oh shit. Never mind. I had one more article on it. Fuck. I thought we were past this. I thought we were on to critical race theory. Never mind. So, Washington teacher gives out flyers advising kids on abortions without parental consent. Again, guys, this is them trying to usurp the parental control, the parental role in society for themselves. They want to raise your kids. They don't want you to have a say. They want to make whatever they teach you so against whatever your parents will say that they will resent the parent and then wrest total control over to these communist assholes without knowing any better. Barracuda says never forgive. Mwahaha, Thanos model. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I you know, the Christian in me says it's always good to forgive, but holy shit, it's hard to forgive these people for what they have done because they haven't repented either. They haven't repented. You know, I would not give forgiveness without repentance to these people because they have screwed up our society, our culture, and our country to the point where it is just let Satan run everything. Let Satan run everything. So, a school district in Washington state reportedly distributed flyers to 8th grade students about sex and abortions, including information on what the legal age could be for sexual partners of kids as young as 11. When I was a kid, we were told abstinence at 11. That shit worked. Oh, my God. The flyer given to the science class at Stewart Middle School in Tacoma advised students that they can obtain an abortion without parental consent at any age, as well as purchase condoms regardless of how old they are. Students were also informed in the handout, which was reportedly produced by Planned Parenthood. Produced by Planned Parenthood. Any surprises there? Any surprise there? None whatsoever. Deborah Ellis says everyone needs to pull their kids out of school, period. Yes, exactly. Homeschool. Don't even send your kid to college these days. Send them to a trade school. Tell them to be a plumber. You will make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year as a plumber because they're in so short supply. Students were also informed in the handout, which was reportedly produced by Planned Parenthood, surprise, surprise, about the laws regarding the age of consent for sex, which, with one example being that they could have intercourse at the age of 11 with someone who is 2 years younger or older. We give federal money to these motherfuckers. Eric Hogan, we're giving money to people who are preaching and promoting pedophile activity. Eric Hogan, the assistant director of secondary education for Tacoma Public Schools, told parents in an email that a teacher had given out the flyers to students by mistake. Oh, that was a fucking mistake. We accidentally told your 11-year-old kid that they could, I don't even want to say what, with a 9-year-old. What the fuck? No, they do not get off that easy. Everybody there needs to be fired. So the flyer is not part of our curriculum and should not have been sent home with the students, he reportedly wrote. Previously, Planned Parenthood taught within our schools and supplied the flyer that was distributed to the students. Why did you have Planned Parenthood teaching at a middle school? Let's look at the fucking premises. So, we discovered a binder of curriculum materials. Wait, I thought you said it was not part of the curriculum. Was left behind by an incoming teacher to be used for this year, and this flyer was in the binder. Not realizing the flyer wasn't approved material, the teacher sent it home with the students. It doesn't fucking matter whether you didn't realize it wasn't approved material or not. If you are teaching middle schoolers, you should look at that material and say, oh, hell no, I'm not sending this home with the kids. That bitch needs to be fired with prejudice. Jesus. Barracuda says OnlyFans University. Exactly. That's hell, there was a university recently that encouraged women, oh, you should do sex work while you're still young. J.G. Mopar says Margaret Sanger was a communist and woman of the KKK. Oh yeah, she was an absolute eugenicist. I did a whole video back in my Black Lives Matter series, in the first videos that I put out when I did the original format of the show, where I dove deep into Margaret Sanger and I read some of her letters. If you guys haven't seen the first 10 videos that I put out, they were scripted, 2-camera, bigger production, all that kind of stuff. You should go check them out. I've got a subsection on my channel, that says original Revved Up, and I've got those 10 videos in there. I really miss doing the videos that way, but each video, I was doing it all by myself, and it was like 40 to 60 hours per video, and it just wasn't covering enough ground. But anyways, oh, whoops, what the hell? I guess that's an ad. Yeah. So now, all right. So now we've got the Biden administration. So we've got teachers that are handing out that sort of material, and now the Biden administration is expanding tuition breaks for future teachers and removing the GPA requirement to provide access to students of color. Whoa, what? What? That's racist! Holy shit! This is the most racist shit ever. See, this is... They lack any self-awareness whatsoever to see that this is true racism. They're removing the GPA requirement to provide access to students of color. They're saying that students of color are too dumb to get into these schools, so we're gonna remove the GPA standard so that you little black and brown people can get into our colleges. That's fucking racist. Holy shit. Remember, this is Joe Biden, the same guy who said poor kids are just as smart as white kids. Wait, what? You know, even more of like the conservative ink types, you know, the Daily Wire types, the more buttoned up conservatives that like to stay prim and proper, not the fucking MAGA mad lads like us here in the Revved Up Rebel Nation. Even they like to give sort of a leeway to Joe Biden. You know, I love Michael Knowles. I love his show. But the other day, he even came out and he said, I don't think Hunter, this is when it came out that Hunter Biden had been saying the N-word with, you know, in his text messages and everything. And Michael Knowles, he even said, oh, I don't think Hunter Biden's racist. And I don't think that does make him racist. But then he went on to say that, no, I don't think Joe Biden is racist. Bro, have you heard the shit that Joe Biden has said? Have you heard what Judge Joe Brown said about hearing what Biden said in the 1970s when he actually called black people cockroaches? When Robert Burt, he gave the fucking eulogy at the Grand Wizard, Grand Cyclops, whatever, of the KKK, his funeral. And in the 70s, that same person introduced him as the last and best of the yellow dog Dixiecrats. Joe Biden is as racist as they come. So, I mean, again, I love Michael Knowles, but holy shit, dude, do not give them this credit. Joe Biden is absolutely racist. Anybody listen to the rapper R.A. the Rugged Man? I love R.A. the Rugged Man. He's got a song that he came out with in 2013 called Media Midgets. It's fucking awesome. You guys got to check out Media Midgets. And I should do a reaction to that. It's old, but I should probably do a reaction. The video is awesome too. But he ends one of his verses with, "You want to see the true racist? Just take a look at Joe Biden." And I mean, this was in 2013 when Biden was still the VP. We knew who the fuck Joe Biden was. We know that he's a racist. Yet you have all of these dumb-ass motherfuckers on the left that will sit there and call Donald Trump a racist with no evidence. And then they'll turn around and vote for the last of the yellow dog Dixiecrats. Jesus. And then he comes out and he says, we're going to remove the GPA requirement to provide access to students of color? I know plenty people of color, to use their euphemism, that probably smarter than me. Very intelligent. Very fucking intelligent. I don't look at a black person or a Hispanic person and say, bet they're probably pretty stupid, but apparently they do. Jesus. Oh shit. Well, we got Darrell in here. Says, what up? Good to have you in here, Darrell. And we this Andrew Ortiz. Says, where was this when I was in school? Oh, man. Yeah, this is ridiculous. JG Mopar says, Joe is a racist, pure and simple. Yeah, and now he has to come out. And you got to imagine, like, what goes through his head when he comes out and he has to talk about being anti-racist and play this whole anti-racist narrative. I mean, because we all know that he is pure racist. We know that he probably dies a little inside every time he has to pretend he's not racist. And that's why he ends up always slipping up and saying something incredibly racist. Now, remember that video that came out where he was at that pool in Delaware, and he was talking about kids coming up and rubbing the hair down on his legs, and he says, so I know all about cockroaches. Or he says, I know all about roaches. That was a slip up. He literally said black people are like cockroaches, and once you get them in your schools, you'll never get them out. That is what he said, according Judge Joe Brown heard him say it. And so when he said, I know about kids sitting on my lap, I know about roaches, he was slipping up and talking about black people. Holy shit. I mean, this guy is as racist as they come. Oh, my God. JG Mopar says, Joe stood with the guy who filibustered the Civil Rights Act. Yeah, Senator Byrd. Same person. Darrell says, bigotry of low expectations is a huge giveaway. I hate minorities that fucking agree to it. Oh my God, you are so right. I get so upset, or I get so annoyed. Let's put it that way. I get so annoyed when, again, you have, they always called it the soft bigotry of low expectations. There ain't shit soft about it. That is just straight up racism. If you have low expectations for people based on your race, you're fucking racist. That's pure and simple. There's no soft bigotry to it. It's pretty fucking overt. Jesus. All right, now we got this fucking galaxy brain here, just to show you the state of affairs in our education system, in our universities. California professor says that Joseph Stalin was a very successful revolutionary. A star bear took to Twitter to an Asatar. His name is Asatar Bear. Wow, what a fucking name. Asatar Bear took to Twitter to explain his admiration for the Soviet dictator's qualities, which included being a great listener. Millions starved, faced persecution, or died under Stalin's leadership, as Zilvina Salinas tells Campus Reform. I love this image right here. A bunch of hearts with like the communist flag with a bunch of hearts on it. Really mocks the really mocks out the true nature of communism. Andrew Ortiz says, is that footage I saw of Joe saying the N-word multiple times during a meeting real? I wouldn't be surprised. Let's see. Deborah Ellis says, love seeing you get so worked up. Hey, we get revved up here. So, on Twitter, California professor tweeted in defense of Joseph Stalin and said that he was one of the greatest leaders of the 20th century, citing the dictator's contributions to Marxism. Asatar Bear, a professor at Riverdale College, get a refund for your kids' fucking tuition if they go there. Recently voiced his support for the Soviet dictator responsible for killing millions of people. Try tens of millions of people on Twitter. On June 26, the professor tweeted, I would certainly conclude that he is one of the greatest leaders of the 20th century, though. People say I idolize Stalin. Not true. I hold a fair and balanced view. You know there's some serious bullshit coming forth here. Oh, shit, we got Lloyd Steele in here. I have not said what up to you. What up, dude? So, all right, sorry. Don't mean to get off, but I like to say hello to everybody that shows up in the chat. So, people say, not true. I hold a fair and balanced view. The man was neither savior nor saint, but he was at once a very successful revolutionary, a great contributor to Marxist theory. Okay. And said to be a great listener and collaborator during discussions. Well, holy shit. He was a good listener. What a fucking sweetheart. Don't worry about the fucking Holodomor. Don't worry about the 3 million Ukrainians systematically starved to death. This guy was a good listener. This guy listened when you talked to him. Oh my God, I want him at my birthday party. Fuck you. Jesus. All right, so... Oh, God damn, these people are... Oh, we got Free America in here. It says, sup, Ram. This is That is Nick Yaya from the Free America podcast. I have been on his show a couple times. Y'all need to go check his show out. We got Amber Abel in here. It says, hey, dude, how are you? We are good. We are getting revved up today. It is good to have you in here. Barracuda says, Marxist theory, more like Nazi theory. Honestly, they are not all that dissimilar. I mean, it's basically international socialism versus national socialism. Which, I mean, if you look at the Nazis' conquest, I'm not how sure how they were not international socialism anyways. Anyway, I'm not going to go down that path. But... So, to say that you hold a fair and balanced view of Stalin while also saying that he was a great contributor to Marxist theory, anybody who was a contributor to Marxist theory at all is a piece of shit. That is a fair and balanced view. If you are a contributor to Marxist theory, then you fucking suck. So, Oh, but he was a good listener. He was a good listener. Get fucked. I'm not going to be listening to that bullshit. Call me a bad listener. I don't give a All right. So, and another tweet. Bear also expressed his gratitude for Stalin as a Marxist leader who helped pave the way for Marxist revolution. Keep in mind, the Marxist revolutions of the 20th century led to conservatively 100 million dead. Not to mention all of the rest of despair, starvation that didn't lead to death, but the conservative number is 100 million. It is likely closer to 200 million. So in another tweet, Bear expresses gratitude for Stalin as a Marxist leader who helped pave the way for Marxist revolution. Didn't Lenin do that? I don't know. Maybe I'm no expert on Stalin. The professor tweeted how Stalin was a very successful revolutionary, a great contributor to Marxist theory, and, okay, a great listener. All right, I covered that. So he says, and there are his successes as a leader. First, excuse me. First, the foresight to fear a belligerent German fascism. Then the tactical ability to successfully defeat the world's greatest invading army, combined with the strength to make tough decisions that have no easy answers. I'm pretty sure the biggest reason that he was able to fend off the Nazis had nothing to do with his tactical ability. It had to do with freezing fucking cold and diminishing supply lines. It had to do with the fact that winter came. Again, I'm no expert on the, the Eastern Front there, but Jesus. Barracuda says, some people did something, million, jillion, what's the big deal, Joe Biden. That's Joe Biden also quoting Ilhan Omar. Let's see. So when confronted by a Twitter user about the negative effects of Stalin's leadership and the atrocities he committed to Ukrainians, Bear replied by saying, that is a sad story, and I'm genuinely sad to hear it. Oh, the Holodomor was that's a sad story. Oh, man. It's like somebody missed lunch one day. However, for each story like this, there are 100 stories of people who were able to live far longer, better lives directly because of Soviet socialism. Such are the contradictions of all politics. Holy shit. So, for the Holodomor, which starved 3 million Ukrainians to death, for every Holodomor where 3 million people died, there were 100 stories of people who lived better. I am no rocket mathematic, but, that does not seem to work out. That does the numbers there do not seem very, to use his terms, fair and balanced. Holy shit. Holy shit. So, Zilvinas Salinas, president of the Foundation for Economic Education, which Foundation for Economic Education, if you're not familiar with it, they do have some very good, I've read a lot of articles on that site. I really do appreciate the work they do over there. You guys, I actually was just reading their site just a couple days ago. I was, because I'm doing a bunch of research on communism and Marxism myself for a project I'm working on. But anyways, go check them out. I think it's fee.org. So go check out fee.org. They put up a lot of good stuff. So president of FEE and a native Lithuanian told Campus Reform about his experience living under Soviet Union control. My home country of Lithuania, nearly 1/10 of the population, men, women, children, elderly people, were rounded up into cattle carts and dumped into the frozen north of the Soviet Union. Thousands died on the journey alone. Many more died from starvation and forced labor. How is this any different than the fucking Nazis? It's not. It's not. The Nazis were evil. The communists were even better at being evil. They were more effective in their evil. So, thousands died on the journey alone, many more from the Road of Bones, Cannibal Island. If you haven't heard about Cannibal Island, go look that up. It was basically a gulag island in the far north of so the Soviet Union and Russia in Siberia, I don't know if it was Eastern Siberia, but they just basically dumped them there with no food and water, starved them to death, and they all had to eat each other to stay alive. Terrible, terrible. So these are not fiction titles. These are real things the Soviet leadership and Stalin intentionally unleashed on the countries they occupied and even the Russians. Salinas also points to the evidence and historical facts countering Baer's points of views on Stalin. There is countless evidence, thousands of books, and even some people alive who still remember the suffering that Stalin's Soviet Union imposed on its own people and countries it occupies, said Salinas. Stalin deliberately starved 3 million Ukrainian peasants for their reluctance to support communism. Those were called the kulaks. The kulaks. And the systematic starvation of them was called the Holodomor. There's a reason it sounds like the Holocaust, because they were both of the same nature. So Ukrainian peasants, for their reluctance to support communism and collectivization, Stalin ordered the execution of 20,000 Polish officers and leaders in order to deprive Polish people of their leadership. Now, if you look at Poland today, Poland, Hungary, the Czech Republic, those places are becoming some of the most base places on the planet. Barracuda says Skylar Turden knows Marxism better than anyone. That's Stephen Crowder's liberal alter ego. The True Grave says, LOL, Alex Jones is the only person that could say something politically correct and then in the next breath talk about interdimensional space aliens. Okay, yeah, I forget. You're behind like 20 minutes in this. So we're reading. True Grave's commentary is coming from about 20 minutes ago at all points. So Amber Abel says, "Fuck Marxism, and I will fight bloody knuckle for this country." Yes. Good on you, Amber. Good on you. But hopefully we have enough men to stand up that you don't have to. Let's see. The Alabastard says, I watched an amazing documentary on Cannibal Island recently. Left me with nightmares. Yeah, dude. Cannibal Island was fucked up. Cannibal Island was super fucked up. Lloyd Steele says, evil dictator. Evil is evil, the ruler of old Satan himself. Evil is evil. I think we're talking about Evel Knievel now with that spelling. No, I'm just kidding, Lloyd. Yeah, evil is evil. Yes. Yeah, and I mean, it really is. It's satanic. It is absolutely satanic. But now we've talked plenty about how critical race theory is completely overwhelming our school system. And now we have the largest teachers union vows to teach critical race theory in all 50 states, plans to team up with Black Lives Matter for school events. So the National Education Association promised to implement the teaching of critical race theory in all 50 states across the 14,000 school districts it represents. The teachers union passed 2 measures that will implement the teaching of critical race theory in U.S. classrooms with the help of the union's Ethnic Minority Affairs caucuses. The union said it would share and publicize information on critical race theory, including what it is and what it is not, which means they are going to make up what it is not and what it is. So a team of union staffers will also fight back against anti-CRT rhetoric and share information with other NEA members as well as their community members, according to the NEA website. All right, I'm not going to read too much into this because time is starting to become an issue, and I haven't even gotten to like the news of the day. So now we have this as well. More than 5,000 woke teachers sign a pledge to teach CRT regardless of the law. Fire them. Get them the fuck out of our schools. So laws banning the instruction of CRT tenets in public schools have passed in more than 20 states. That's a win. There is no reason to hope that the tide is beginning to turn, or there is reason to hope that the tide is beginning to turn in the fight for the country's history and principles. Unfortunately, the Zen Education Project refuses to accept defeat and desires to teach American children that this country was founded upon the dispossession of Native Americans, slavery, structural racism, and oppression, as opposed to the principles of liberties enshrined in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Now that ZEP is circulating a pledge to teach the truth, which it is absolutely not, which identifies left-wing methods of analysis like critical race theory as the truth and decrees that the signees, all of whom are educators, refuse to be bullied into compliance with law. Well, we can be fired. They can be fired out of their jobs. Now, the Zinn Education Project, that's named after Howard Zinn, who wrote the book A People's History. And when I was in college, the only C that I got in any class was American history. Everything else, all A's and B's. The only C that I got was in American history. Me, of all people, who loves American history. The reason was our textbook was Howard Zinn's A People's History. And because I rejected all of the premises and ideals that they taught. So I got a C in that class because I refused to be a fucking communist. Let's see. Maintenance Man says the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many. Yeah, that's let's see. Amber Abel says, I will tell you this with 100% truth. CRT will not fly in my state. The parents will not stand for it. Nah, man. Parents are getting pissed off. Parents are getting pissed off. But the pledge reads, 2 state legislatures from your name. We, the undersigned educators, refuse to lie to young people about U.S. history and current events, regardless of the law. That's a very well written statement. One sentence. So far, according to the Zinn Education Project, the pledge has been signed by more than 5,000 educators in all 50 states, and many of the signees were more than happy to provide their reasons for signing. Needless to say, some of them were quite shocking. How can we teach future generations to disrupt systems if we are not willing to speak the truth about the systems? It is not a teacher's job to teach kids how to disrupt systems. Fuck you. Justice and liberation for my students, agreed another. They're not your students. They're not your kids. They have parents. They do not belong to you. That is not your fucking job. This is the core problem that we are seeing in our educational system, is that teachers do not understand their role anymore. They think they are the parents. They think that they have the responsibility to raise these kids in their image. Fuck you. That is the parents' job. Perhaps the most arrogant of all comments was written by one who contended, teachers have a right to teach these subjects to the best of their ability without interference from lawmakers who know nothing about professional education. What about the parents? Again, we also do a disservice to students when we decide that they cannot cope with difficult or challenging concepts. Calling this teaching indoctrination shows no respect for young people's cognitive and critical abilities. They're not using critical abilities. They're using critical abilities. They're not using critical thinking skills. There's a difference between critical thinking and simply being critical. Anyways, let's see. Let me see what I got to start picking and choosing what I talk about now because we're running low on time. I do want to show this one video here. Let's see.
My name's Ian Rice. I've got 2 children here at the Caledonia School District. It's very apparent here by all the parents that have spoken that this board and the school district is failing. More importantly, I came here to talk about critical race theory. This theory was never meant to be brought into grade schools, high schools, at all. It's actually taught in the collegiate atmosphere, and more importantly, the legal portion of the collegiate atmosphere, to see different laws through the lens of race.
This is as high as the volume will go. It's kind of low in the video. Let me see. Right? Yeah, it's as high as I can get it.
Grade schools and high schoolers. The problem with bringing it to high school and grade school level is that we don't have the educators to properly teach these kids. Instead, they're using it as their own agenda to indoctrinate the kids to hate each other. And whether you believe that to be true or not, the reality is that's what's happening. Critical race theory is teaching that white people are bad. That's not true. That would teach my daughter that her mother is evil. You already have an educator within your staff that has pulled my daughter aside and said, well, you're a minority, so you know better than to engage in certain things.
Wow.
When I was brought to the school's attention, Nothing happened to the educator. Instead, my daughter was brought in, and she was ridiculed. So my question is now, with critical race theory being brought in, what is your criteria to educate the educators? And who are you to educate my children, or any of our children, in life issues? That's our job.
Yes.
Your job is to teach them math and science. Our job is to teach them about life. I believe racial issues and tensions across the U.S. are nowhere near what they used to be decades ago. Do we have a long way to go? Sure. Do we still have individuals out there that need to be taught? Absolutely. But I believe the people here don't look at me as a black man. They look at me as a man standing in front of you addressing the issue that we all are very passionate about.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, well said. Well said. I mean, I do, that first part where he was talking about, I don't think critical race theory should even be taught in colleges. It's not really about, I don't know that he was right about the whole application in law schools. I think the whole thing was designed to be a subversive Marxist indoctrination plot, but, at the end of the day, he got the message across, and he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. So, let's see. Now, I wanted to talk. I had a story on Vernon Jones, who turned the tables on a CNN reporter and said that they don't want blacks to thinking for themselves. Probably gonna move past that one, man. I'm a big fan of Vernon Jones, though. Vernon Jones for governor of Georgia. I'm all for that shit. All for it. And it was a great clip. You should go check it out. But now we had this. Joe Biden, the president of the president of the United States, says you can't define America. I defy you to tell you what constitutes an American. You can't do it. Yes, you can. An American is somebody either is a citizen of America, either born or legally naturalized into this country, that is protected by the rights delineated in the Constitution. Inalienable rights that they are protected from the government from taking away, from stripping from them. That is an American. There. How hard was that to fucking define? So President Joe Biden raised eyebrows with a remark that he made on Friday at a naturalization ceremony with essential workers and military service members, saying that there was no set of standard for what constitutes an American. I've often said that America is the only nation in the world founded on an idea, Biden said. Every other nation in the world is founded on the basis of either that geography or ethnicity or religion. You can define almost everyone else based on those characteristics, but you can't define America. Yeah, you can. You just don't do it on the terms. He's basically saying that because he cannot define us on any sort of ethnic or religious terms, which really you can define America on a religious term. We were founded with Christian principles. That is a fact. That is a fact. But he's basically saying that because we have different ethnicities, you can't define an American, which means that his entire view of defining a citizen of the country is shaped through a racial lens. He doesn't understand that he is belying his own racism through his concept of what constitutes the citizen of a country. He says we're an incredibly diverse democracy. No, we are not. Yes, we are diverse, but no, we are not a fucking democracy. How many times do I have to say, well, I guess I have to keep saying this because they don't hear me. We are not a excuse me. We are not a democracy. We are a constitutional representative republic. We don't say the Pledge of Allegiance and to the democracy for which it stands. No, we say and to the republic for which it stands. We are not a democracy. But the fact that he says that you can't define an American because we are ethnically diverse, that is some serious shit right there. That is some serious shit. That is the president of our country who does not seem to understand that our country is supposed to transcend ethnic identity. And therefore, we're just a blob of nothingness because we don't have ethnic cohesion. That's because he is a racist. He is a white supremacist who, because we are no longer a majority white nation, he no longer knows what we are as a country. He is the racist. Oh, my God. All right, let me see. I wanted to talk about, because we are running low on time, I got to keep these things under 2 hours or they won't port over to they won't port over to Odyssey. Let's see, we had Mitt Romney's dumbass saying, I trust President Biden. I take him at his word. Yeah, that's why we don't trust you, Mitt Romney. That is exactly why we don't trust you. Okay, so we had, this is what I wanted to cover. So, former GOP rep Denver Riggleman, enough of this crap. January 6th probe, absolutely friggin' necessary. So former rep Denver Riggleman said on Friday's CNN's Anderson Cooper 360 that a commission to investigate the January 6th Capitol riot was absolutely friggin' necessary. Anybody who says friggin' just they just sound like a fucking joke. So not a friggin' joke, but a fucking joke. So Riggleman added that any Republican pushback on the investigation is crap. Now, here's the thing. I actually think we do need a commission to figure out what the hell happened on January 6th. But I think that the title of their commission is something along the lines of an investigation into the wrongdoings of Donald Trump. That sounds more like you've made up your mind about what this was. No, because they're not going to be investigating what really matters. They are going to be investigating it from a completely politically biased standpoint. They are not going to be investigating who shot Ashley Babbitt. They are not going to be investigating, well, I'll get to it in a minute, but, or the agent provocateurs or all of the FBI informants that were helping provoke this entire thing. They're not going to be looking at that. They're only going to be looking at ways to condemn Trump and his supporters. So, no, I'm not on board for this fucking commission. So, Riggleman says, you have Trump putting out these misses that are more and more ridiculous. All right, I'm not gonna read this fucking rhino's words. But, if we actually had a real commission that looked into all sides of it, what role might the FBI have played in forming this and in coercing it? What role did who shot Ashley Babbitt? And again, let me get to this next story because I keep trying to tiptoe around it, tap dance around it, but I didn't want to get ahead of myself. So let me just get to this. So more images of police officer firing flash bombs at peaceful Trump supporters, including seniors, women, and children on January 6th. Yeah, are you going to have this in your commission? No, they're not going to look into this. Not one bit. Let's see. JG Mopar says, remember the two guys going down the stairs saying, we are not Antifa? They looked like feds on the 6th. Yeah, I don't remember. I didn't see that one. Send me a link. So, as we reported earlier on January 6th, Capitol Police started firing flash grenades and rubber bullets at peaceful protesters with U.S. and MAGA flags. From the video, you can see the protesters are not on the Capitol steps and were behind the barriers. There were children, veterans, and seniors in the crowd. The protesters were packed tightly together, and the Capitol Police started firing on them. Last month, the reader said, okay, so I'm going to skip over some of this. So we can see that flash grenade being fired right there. And watch this video. So you can see everybody's being peaceful. I don't think there's any audio on this. No. There's the grenade, slow motion, into the crowd, just firing it off into a peaceful crowd. You see, nobody's acting up there. And they weren't trying to instigate anything. I mean, if I was there, I would have gotten pissed off if they just started firing flash grenades in. Now, we actually have, let's see, this next video here.
Straight up bullshit, y'all. Hey, they've been throwing flash bangs, shooting us with bullets. Look at that shit. Look at this shit. These are fucking American flags. American people standing out here protesting the right way. And we're getting treated like we're not citizens. This is bullshit.
You won't be able. Yeah, stay with them, and we'll figure out. I don't know how long we'll be able to stay with them.
Get the girls out of here. They're throwing flashbangs from over here.
Okay, all right.
Get the girls out of here.
Okay.
That's a man right there. Get the girls out of here. They're throwing flashbang. Yes. To our side, we actually have real fucking men.
Come on.
Hey, let's go.
Y'all go this way. Come on. We're getting the girls out of here, bro. Go, go, go.
Okay, so I think that was pretty much that was pretty much it. But you see, they were shooting flashbangs into us, and of course, our side, because we have good, decent people on our side. What do? We say, all right, make sure the women and children are okay. So on Sunday night, a Gateway pundit reader sent a photo of the police officer firing flash grenades on innocent protesters. So we see here, there he is. There he's got his flash grenade cannon. We see there he is again. This fat fuck loading up another round and about to fire another one in there. Are they going to be looking into that? Something tells me they are not. Something tells me they're not. And now it looks like we know the identity of Ashley Babbitt's killer. So let's see. I got to finish this up real quick because I've only got about 5 minutes left to get through this, and then I got to cut out on you guys pretty quick because we're going to be hitting that 2-hour mark. So Ashley Babbitt's husband, Aaron Babbitt, and attorney Terrell Roberts joined Tucker Carlson in mid-June to discuss the. All right, let me skip all this part. So on Monday, Gateway pundit reader named Michael sent us this final piece to identify Ashley Babbitt's killer. Capitol Police Lieutenant Michael Byrd is the name of the officer who left his gun inside a Capitol Hill restroom in 2019. So, roll call reported. Sorry, guys, I told you I'm still getting over this infection. Still, voice is starting to go. So, a U.S. Capitol Police lieutenant left his service weapon in a bathroom Monday night, and the unattended gun was discovered later by another Capitol Police officer. After the House adjourned on Monday, Lieutenant Mike Byrd left his Glock 22 in a bathroom in the Capitol Visitor Center complex, according to sources familiar with the incident. So apparently that is the name of this person who shot Ashley Babbitt. Gateway pundit contributor Larry Johnson recently wrote on Byrd's dangerous behaviors. Ashley Babbitt's killer is dangerous and competent. It's not clear why Lieutenant Byrd was still on the police force in January 2021 after his previous actions. Tyler Hansen reported at the Gateway Pundit on the identity of the shooter back on February 25th. We posted the report below, so we see the police lieutenant's name is being withheld from Ashley Babbitt's attorneys. Sorry, guys, my throat is starting to go here. I'm having a little trouble here at the end. So this is the officer responsible for the excessive force executing Ashley Babbitt. And we see here, look at the dude. He's got his finger on the trigger, and his gun is pointed to the back of his colleagues. So before killing Ashley, the officer is seen aiming his firearm at fellow colleagues. You can see the officer disregards nearly every basic firearm safety rule in the book. His finger is wrapped around the trigger while his firearm is aimed in the direction of his colleagues. Original photo. Notice how the other officers are properly handling their firearms and don't have their finger around the trigger. So we have here, the officer can be seen wearing what seems to be an identical handkerchief, tie, and insignia. So that's the shooter right there. And then we also see John Sullivan, the Black Lives Matter activist there, right there. Antifa organizer. So there we can see. You can see that it's the same person. I mean, look at it's blurry, so it's not super definitive, but you can see by the tie and the way the lapel, everything there seems the same. And then you can also see the bracelet right there. See that bracelet? The one who shot Ashley Babbitt? Same bracelet he's wearing. Same bracelet he's wearing. So that is who killed Ashley Babbitt. It seems, seems almost sure. Almost sure that's who killed Ashley Babbitt. His name was Capitol Police Lieutenant Michael Byrd. Well, you cannot hide everything from the internet sleuths. Here on the right, we go after everything. JG Mopar says, the video of the two guys is gone. I will keep searching. Yeah, Barracuda. They said that the girl had the laptop. People said they were special forces. Yeah, are you guys talking about the... Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. All kinds of crazy shit. All kinds of crazy shit. We got the Alabastard says, hashtag Rhino Safari. Yes, hashtag Rhino Safari. We will have our next Rhino Safari in 2022. There was an article I wanted to talk about a lot about Ron DeSantis looking like he's going to try to run in 2024. I really hope he doesn't. I love Ron DeSantis. Don't get me wrong. Ron DeSantis is the future. But I do think that he could definitely use 4 years of seasoning as Trump's vice president, building his own allies in Washington so that he could be more effective during 2028 and 2032. I am a huge Ron DeSantis supporter. I love that he's coming from being a governor, because coming from that executive background will give him an advantage as president. But as we all saw with Trump, it is a swamp, and it is hard to tell who is on your side and who isn't. So if he has 4 years as Trump's VP to build, to weed out the snakes in the swamp and to build true alliances, I think that will make him that much more effective when he runs in 2028 and 2032. Anyways, guys, that is all I have for the show. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button. Please share this channel. Tell people about the show. Also, as you guys know, as I said, I've got the hearing for my job. I'm about positive they're going to fire me. I don't think there's any way that they don't after some of the shit that they've said, which I can't publicly talk about yet. But if you are interested in helping out the channel, there are links to my PayPal and Subscribestar down in the comments below. Anything helps right now, because I got no idea what my future is going to hold here, and hopefully I can keep this show going, but nothing is going to be guaranteed after this. So, anyways, guys, thank you for joining me, and as always, rev your engines, ride hard, and fight like hell.